Good morning, everyone. I'm here to give you an intro onto lesson 9.4. So in the first half of the chapter, lessons 9.1 through 3 last week and the week before, we focused on measures of center, ways to generalize the information or give an average. Typical performance was the wording we kept using. So measures of center of mean, median, mode are one way to talk about data. In lessons 9.4 and 9.5, we're actually going to be looking at what we call measures of variation, how different a data set can be, the range, how spread out it is. So in today's lesson, one of the items I ask you to do is to review the notes. They're posted. We have a definition of the measure of center is a measure that describes the distribution of data. So where is it distributed? Where does it lie? Is there a big range of where it is, or is it more narrow? Are they more clustered together? So one of the ways that we can measure variation is by looking at just simply the range. Okay, range is the difference between the biggest value and the smallest value. So looking at a set of numbers, you want to take your biggest number and you want to subtract your smallest. So on today's assignment, workbook page 214, questions 1 through 4 are simply to find the range. Okay, so you need to make sure you're scanning that list, finding the largest number and the smallest number, and you're subtracting, and that is your range. That shows how the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. Okay, the other measure of variation that we're going to be looking at has a very scary name, but really it's just finding median 3 different times. So we're going to be looking at what we call interquartile range, or IQR. When we look at a set of numbers and arrange them least to greatest, in last lesson we found the median, the midway point. Okay, we can go ahead and separate the data set into more sections as well. Okay, so when we are looking at interquartile range, we're looking at separating the information into quarters, quartile, 4, like quadrants, okay? So in the notes, it shows you some vocabulary and how to code these different things. Basically, what we do is first arrange our data set least to greatest. We find our median, which we know how to do. We did that last lesson. Then we find the median of what we consider the lower half of the information, and then we find the median of the upper half of the information. So what I'm going to do right now is just go ahead and walk you through question number 5 on today's assignment, okay? Because this is definitely a lesson that lends itself much more nicely to us being in person and us being able to go over it. These terms sound very technical and like, oh, what are you talking about? But they're really you're just finding median more than once, okay? So in question number 5 on your workbook, you have a set of numbers. There are 8 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep. And you are asked to find the median, first quartile, third quartile, and interquartile range of the information. So the first thing that you want to do when you are asked a question like this is put them in order least to greatest. Okay, so that's what I've done. This is question number 5 on today's assignment. So you can pause and you can write it all down. Okay, so here are the order, or the numbers ordered from least to greatest. So first thing we want to do is find our median. Okay, this is an even number of numbers, so our median is going to be technically finding the mean of the middle 2. Okay, our median, our midway point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, it's right here. Okay, this is when we can eyeball. Our median in this would be the number that's in between 18 and 20, which is 19. All right, you're already a third of the way there. Well, a fourth of the way there. So now what we want to do is, this is that line in the sand. This is dividing what we consider the upper half of the information and the lower half, okay? The highest numbers and the low numbers, okay? 19, that median, is your midway point, okay? So now if we wanted to find the first quartile, What that means is, what's the median of the lower half, okay? So now we just find the median of these 4 numbers, okay? Our median of these 4 numbers would be right here, in between 14 and 15, okay? In this, the number that would be in between 14 and 15 is 14.5, 14 and a half, okay? So this right here is our Q1 value, our first quartile. Notice how it's written, a Q and they call it a subscript 1, like a little one, not an exponent, a little one down below, okay? Back when we were learning all the quadrants and you said, do we have to write it in Roman numerals? This is another reason why, is because the letter Q is used in other things, okay? So here's our median. Let me write that, median. Here's our first quartile. And then our third quartile is going to be the median of the upper half of the data. Okay, so same thing. Now we need to find the median of these 4 numbers, which will be right here in between 21 and 22, which is 21.5. That is our Q3 value, okay? Those sports fans out there, it's quarters, okay? First quarter, midway point, it's also the end of the second quarter. It's also halftime, okay? The third quarter, and then way at the end here is the fourth quarter, or the final, the end, okay? Quartile, quarters, 4 sections, okay? So we have just found our median of 19. We found our Q1, or our first quartile, which is the median of the lower half of the data, 14.5. And we found our Q3, or third quartile value, which is the median of the upper half of the data, 21.5. Okay? The last thing that you are asked to do is to find the interquartile range. Okay? The interquartile range is found by taking your third quartile value and subtracting your first quartile value. So we would take the 21.5 minus the 14.5 to give us our interquartile range, or our IQR, okay? And we'll talk more about what that is and what it's used for, but that's kind of like the nitty-gritty of how you find it, okay? So you are asked to do this for question 6. Remember, first things first, put them in order least to greatest, find your median, find the median of the first half, find the median of the second half, okay? Worst comes to worst, you can join us at our 2 o'clock meet, and we can talk about this after you've had some experience trying these things out, okay? So questions 1 through 4 are simply range, biggest number minus smallest number. Question 5 we just did together. You could even try doing it on your own and then double checking the video to see that you did it right. And then 6 and 7 are a little bit more the same, okay? So again, intro to 9.4. We do have a 2 o'clock meet where we're gonna talk more about this. And remember, it's day 1 of a new concept that your teacher's not in front of you. So if it's weird or if it's confusing, just do the best that you can. And I hope that you can meet with me, whether it's the 2 o'clock or whether it's another time. Feel free to email me. All right, we'll talk later. Bye.